Memphis, the Memphis Tigers, are looking to buy their way into the Big 12, and it hasn't been successful. There's been reports that their attempts to pay and buy their way into the Big 12, a lump sum of $200 million, were unsuccessful. But it's interesting, the report from Ross Dellinger, he noted that Memphis was looking to buy their way into the Big 12 for $200 million with corporate sponsors, with FedEx and all these companies. The Big 12's not interested in that, and even the University of Memphis issued a statement to the commercial appeals Jason Munz, not the former BYU quarterback back in the day from Kennewick, Washington, a different Jason Munz, different spelling too. They issued this statement, the University of Memphis did, to the commercial appeal. They said, quote, "The University of Memphis is aware of the recent conversations regarding our potential inclusion in the Big 12. While those discussions did not ultimately move in our favor, our university and Memphis athletics are stronger than ever, and we look forward to continuing to strengthen our position nationally," end quote. Again, that was to the commercial appeal in Memphis. This is a fascinating story to me because Memphis, to me, has never been, I think, the most attractive realignment program. It's interesting with Memphis. They've always been kind of the one that's left out completely. Always left at the altar with realignment. You think back to 2021 when Bob Bowlesby and the Big 12 quickly responded after losing Texas and Oklahoma. They first go to BYU. They then go to Houston, Cincinnati, and then UCF. They did not go to Memphis. And you think 4 years later, what's really changed? Well, a lot's changed with NIL, the college athletic space. A lot's changed in that regard. But as far as Memphis's profile, what truly has changed? But it's interesting to me, though, that they were willing to buy their way in. I thought this tidbit from Ross Dellinger was fascinating to me. It said this: Memphis's proposal is described as a no-risk concept, according to some in the Big 12, and it also sets a standard, perhaps, of expansion fees to enter a league. The school, Memphis, would take zero distribution for the final 5 years of the league's new television deal with ESPN and Fox. That goes to 2031. Add the sponsorships in excess of $150 million over 5 years and subject itself to expulsion after 2030-31 if Big 12 deems it's not adding value. That is fascinating to me. It truly is a no-risk deal. See what they can do for 5 years. See what it's all about. See what Memphis can provide. Now, from a scheduling perspective, it'll be a little bit of a headache, 17 teams. But you think about basketball, Memphis has a great basketball tradition, and they joined the Big 12, the best basketball league in America. I know the SEC was the best last year, but over the past decade, the Big 12 has been the best. And the Big 12 looks like they're ready to bounce back with a vengeance this year. You hear that, and they were open to the idea of expulsion after 2031, I would have taken this deal. I would have taken this deal and added Memphis for a short-term money infusion. I would have taken this if I was the Big 12. Memphis is a good football program, too. Since 2014, when they had Justin Fuente, and BYU fans know about that 2014 Memphis squad. Ever since then, that's been a steady winning football program. Consistently about a 9-4 football team. They had a New Year's Six appearance in the Cotton Bowl. Look, I'm not going to say Memphis is just, going to be a home run in football. I'd like to think they'd have a little bit more fan support at home football games if they join the Big 12, because attendance with Memphis has always been viewed as maybe not being a strength. You look at some of their home attendance last year, 25,000 for North Alabama, 23,000 for Troy, 25,000 for Middle Tennessee, 32,000 seat stadium. I mean, that's not the greatest, but I mean, there's small stadiums in the Big 12. Nippert Stadium's pretty small. I think that cash infusion, though, is just interesting. But the thing is then, well, where does it stop? If Memphis does that, well, what's stopping you then for taking the money from USF some other programs that really, if Liberty came calling and said, hey, we want to pay $500 million to let us into the Big 12, will you do it? I do believe, though, this is setting the stage for programs are going to have to buy their way into the Power 5, Power 4. It's as simple as that. SMU started it. Memphis is just kind of taking it to an even higher level, their pitch to try to get in. Because even though the Big 12 still has a perceived gap between the SEC and Big 10, there's still a heck of a lot more resource than the American programs. The new look Mountain West in the future. I know the Mountain West is going to maybe have some settlement with the Pac-12. Who knows what's going on there with that all litigation. The Pac-12 is going to be part of the group of 6 now. It's crazy. And to me, it's Memphis. If the Big 12 just truly shuts the door on this Memphis talk, Memphis should go to the Pac-12, in my opinion, or try to find a way to get their basketball into the Big East. But Memphis basketball is interesting. I just think that would be a fascinating addition to a league that's really great at basketball, the Big 12. And Brett Yormark loves basketball. And you look at all the broadcasting partners that are part of the media rights with ESPN and Fox leading the way, but then these sub-licensing deals for football and basketball with TNT, CBS Sports Network with basketball, Peacock with basketball. There's a strong commitment to inventory for the basketball space. And I do believe Memphis would add value. And the idea of just booting them after 2031 if they don't provide value, and you get a bunch of money in the meantime, $150 million. But does that hurt your brand? Brett Yormark's a huge brand guy. Does that hurt the brand of this new look Big 12 that's finally settling in? Finally just kind of breathing a little bit and not having to onboard new programs and get them up to speed on what the Big 12 is all about. 150 million is 150 million, man. That's a lot of money. That is a ton of coin, and I think it's a program that can be pretty competitive. I think Memphis would be at the back half of the football side. I think basketball would be middle of the road, I would think. But a lot of money. Still doesn't seem like the Big 12 board of directors are all that excited about the idea. But to me, with that no risk, boot them after 2031 if they didn't provide value, I'd get on board with that. I'd take that cash. Let them on board. Let's go. I'll take some trips to Memphis. I'm down for that. It's just my thoughts. Very interesting stuff, though. It just shows, though, that college football and conference realignment always has a way of making some headlines in summer. Now, the Memphis talk was pretty short-lived. It wasn't anything that was lasting a storyline for days on end. But still, it's a really intriguing thought, and to see where things are going to be going in the future, because you think about the ACC, do Florida State and Clemson, do they bolt after 2031 when their buyouts get significantly lower before, that 2036 mark when the thing ends completely? Do they just say, we're going to spend, $150 million to buy our way into the SEC or the Big Ten? Does it get to a point where programs like a BYU, do they have to try to level up to save themselves? Do they have to buy their way in to the SEC or Big Ten too? I don't know. It just kind of sets the table, though, for this being the new trend for conference realignment. What was once about, academic fit, institutional alignment. Do you got the cash or not? Are you willing to pony up to be in this group of teams and willing to not get paid for, 7-10 years to be part of this thing? Like, we all forget Oregon, who won the Big Ten last year and is a national brand, is not getting a full share in the Big Ten. Same with Washington. And Oregon won the Big Ten. Stanford and Cal, not a full share. SMU's getting nothing for, a decade? And they were in the ACC championship game. So it might be the new trend in college realignment. If you want to be in the club, you got to pay. BYU was like the last of a era of realignment. It was the old guard in realignment, pre-NIL, even though NIL was like 2 months old when BYU got formally invited. They got in at the right time. I always say that. BYU in realignment, it worked out beautifully, even though it was a stressful time for BYU fans for years to navigate realignment rumors and not have a home, but it worked out brilliantly for the Cougars.